If the Minnesota Vikings are experiencing a little bit of buyer's remorse with Mike Zimmer's 3-year top of the market extension, maybe they should explore their options. So now firing him, paying out that full contract, full freight, less than ideal. But maybe the Vikes ownership should get creative and revisit the idea of trading Mike Zimmer to the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, now, this has obviously been a conspiracy theory that we've held for a long time, so let's go to the timeline, go back and take a look at the tape. December 29th was the Cowboys' last game. They blew out Washington Week 17, blah, 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 Jason Garrett's final game. January 5th, 3:25 p.m. Central Time, Vikings beat the Saints in the wild card. Kyle Rudolph, game-winning touchdown. Woo, let's go. Let's go. January 5th, that same day, 100 minutes later, an hour 40 minutes later, Jason Garrett fired by the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys up to that point had left Garrett in limbo. They had actually been interviewing candidates while Garrett was still employed. That's completely getting cuckolded. But yeah, but it's crystal clear. Jarrah wanted Zimmer bad. He absolutely did. And he was waiting to see if the Vikings would lose to the Saints, what was going to happen. Would they fire Mike Zimmer? And then he could swoop in like on the Jarrah Express, woo, Razorback soup egg, or if the Vikings decide to waffle, since remember Zimmer did have 1 year left on his deal, that 1 year Band-Aid extension he got last off season through 2020, then Jared be like, all right, hey Ricky or the Wilfs, I'll give you a 7th round pick for Mike Zimmer. Click. That whole thing, right? But the Vikings beat the Saints. Garrett fired 100 minutes later because Jerry knew that the Vikings were going to hang on to Zimmer. So it is not a coinky-dink. It is absolutely not. And the Cowboys were the last to fire in terms of the coaching turnover last offseason, and also the last to basically fill their vacancy because they hired Mike McCarthy on the 7th. The Giants were already dialed in and finishing up with Joe Judge. He was hired on January 8th. And then, of course, the Browns, they were in on Stefanski, but they had to wait until the Vikings were knocked out of playoffs, and he was hired on the 13th. So the Cowboys, they drug their feet just waiting on what was going to happen with Zimmer, and then they settled on Mike McCarthy. The massively overrated Mike McCarthy. He may be the worst head coach to ever win a Super Bowl, and I truly believe that. And also, the Cowboys already revolting against McCarthy and their current coaching staff, so I could easily see this being a one-and-done spot. Jerry Jones, obviously, is not getting any younger. He would like to see just one time that the Cowboys returned to some semblance of glory that he had in the early 90s before he was dumb and ego got in the way and he kicked Jimmy Johnson to the curb. But so why would Dallas want Zimmer? Well, Zimmer, he was in Dallas for 13 seasons, 94 to 99. He was a D-backs coach. 2000, 2006, he was the de facto defensive coordinator. Won a ring in 95 with Barry Switzer. And also he survived... this is a huge thing. He survived 3 coaching regime changes. So Switzer brought him on, and then Chan Gailey took over in 98. Then Dave Campo took over in 2000, and then Bill Parcells, Big Tuna, came in 2003. And that shows how much Parcells respects Mike Zimmer's football acumen, because not only did he retain him on his new staff, Parcells is very historically has come in, cleaned house, and staffed up with his own guys, but he made him the defensive coordinator. And also Zimmer was more than just a rubber stamp for Parcells, because Parcells was a great linebackers coach, but he only coordinated defense for 2 years before he was bumped up to being a head coach of the Giants. So when he won with the Giants, those 2 Super Bowls, when he won games with the Patriots, went to the Super Bowl in 96, and also when he won a couple of games with the Jets, took him to the AFC title game, what was the one thing that they all had in common? Bill Belichick was his defensive coordinator. And Parcells, he went 34-30 in Dallas, thanks in a big part to Zimmer's defense. It was number 1 in yards, number 2 in points their first year together in 2003. And also he had some talented guys like safety Roy Williams and Greg Ellis and Dexter Coakley and Dat Wynn, the pride of Texas A&M. Woo! Let's go. And Jerry Jones, he loves nostalgia. He loves loyalty. And also he's got to be completely embarrassed by the way that his defense has performed as of late. There's too much talent to play this poorly. So that's why it would be appealing to bring in Mike Zimmer no matter what it costs. Now, why would it be appealing to Zim? Well, if at his age, 64 years young, is he up for a full rebuild here in Minnesota? Where Dallas kind of looks revved up, ready to go, even though they seriously underachieved the final season with Jason Garrett, the one season with Mike McCarthy, sure, but the cupboard is not bare in Dallas. Also, It's a spot where he's had a lot of professional success. He won his only Super Bowl ring as an assistant in '95, as well as, I mean, Dallas is where his kids grew up, so it's kind of a de facto home. And also, one of his kids still lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Plus, the Cowboys do have a lot of talent on that defense. Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith are the best linebacker duo in the NFL. DeMarcus Lawrence is one of the best edge rushers in the game. Alden Smith is getting his life together and being extremely productive. Randy Gregory, if he can get his head out of his ass, will be great. Maybe they'll hang on to Everson Griffin, who's doing pretty decent down in Dallas as well. Trevon Diggs, who, Zimmer and Diggs had their differences, but maybe they sided with their little brother, right? Plus, that's just on the defense. Offensively, you got CeeDee Lamb and Amari and Zeke and Michael Gallup and a great offensive line when they're healthy. There's a lot to like there. Plus, the Minnesota winters when you're losing, less ideal. Dallas, a little bit nicer climate. It's not bad. As well as, maybe Zimmer's new company will enjoy some warmer weather. I don't know. It's certainly possible. But the question is, why would Dallas make the trade? A, they're the Cowboys. They will do some off-the-wall stuff, even though they've really reined it in as of late. I think Stephen Jones has been basically like a governor on the engine that is Jerry Jones. But maybe Jerry just gets one more, hey, this is my call. Zimmer's going to be my guy. B, the Vikings have a ton of leverage in the spot. I mean, they could just keep Zimmer. They could just do that because he's got 3 years left on his deal. They do have a lot of incentive to keep Mike Zimmer, so they don't necessarily need to trade him. Also, if Zimmer is fired, I mean, it's not really a slam dunk that he goes to Dallas. Like, maybe the Jets get involved in the Zimmer Derby. Maybe they offer him more money. Maybe they offer him more control, or whatever the hell that he wants. Because, of course, Jerry Jones has been a notoriously difficult owner to work under. But, yeah. So, what would be the trade compensation? Well, it's really hard to gauge the market of coach trading compensation because it's all over the place. But I do think that it does start and end with a second-round pick. If the Vikings can refill in that hole that they made when they traded away Yannick Ngakoue, the Ravens' late third-round pick doesn't really fill. But if they're able to get the Dallas Cowboys second-round pick for Zim, okay, I'm in. And look at the history of coaches being traded. So Zimmer's former boss, Parcells, in '97, when he was traded from the Patriots after they appeared in the Super Bowl, lost to the Packers. So, but he basically quit, walked out on Robert Kraft. It wasn't going to work out. And then he found a loophole trying to find his way to the Jets. He named Belichick the head coach, and he was an advisor for a year. Obviously, it wasn't going to work. But and then Paul Tagliabue, the then commissioner, it determined that it would cost the Jets a 97 third and fourth round picks, 98 a second round pick, 99 a first round pick. That's a lot. That's big tuna. That's a lot. 2000, Belichick, the other direction, who was named the Jets head coach for one day after Parcells retired for like the 17th time. And then he broke his contract. He went up to the Patriots, and then the Patriots were forced to give the Jets a first round pick. And then 2002, perhaps the only true coach trade in the Super Bowl era. John Gruden was traded from the Oakland Raiders to the Bucks for 2 ones, a second round pick, and $8 million in cash. I was like when they just include cash, because like this is the dollar amount of how we value you plus picks. So but I don't have a copy of Mike Zimmer's contract. Generally, if it's going to be a boilerplate coaching contract, they probably don't have a trade provision in terms of an applicable buyout. But maybe with the rumors in January, they put one in. Like maybe if the Vikings and the Wilfs and Spielman do trade Mike Zimmer, maybe it's a reduced buyout. Because what happens in coaching trades is that it isn't, hey, the Cowboys just inherit Zimmer's contract with the Vikings. No, essentially, it's just a swapping of the rights. The contract gets rescinded with the Vikings or whatever the buyout or whatever provision is. And then he goes to Dallas, they have his rights, and then they negotiate a new deal. That's how it works. I think bottom line, if the Vikings don't think that Zimmer is the right man for the future, if they don't trust him to work with the next future franchise quarterback, which is Zimmer, besides Teddy, I actually think, so Teddy was supposed to be his quarterback forever. First round pick, his first year here, they were tight. Like that was a true head coach quarterback relationship. He's been kind of frosty with Bradford. Same thing with Keenum, same thing with Cousins. I think Zimmer might have a broken heart over Teddy. But that's getting into way too far of a rabbit hole. But if the Vikings do not trust Zimmer to learn and grow with their new quarterback, that's fine. fine. Either fire him, or if the trade door is open, why not? Send him away to a team that wanted him in January, will probably still want him this coming January, and then get your second round pick back. Everyone wins. Also, the way the Cowboys are playing right now with Andy Dalton, it could be a high second round pick. So sure, why not? But your thoughts? Trading Zimmer to Dallas? Woo, let's go. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.